What's that?
I love that hat dance.
Yes, that music can only mean one thing. Time for Bridging Civil Tension right here, 21.6. Bridging Civil Tension, where we feel that it's better to build a bridge than to blow it up. The guy right over there, that's Phil Wallace, father, author, clothing line, entrepreneur, coach, mentor, all-around good guy.
Leader.
Big leader, Greater McHenry County. He's done a lot of good things, sits on the boards of several important places here, the break being one of them. And of course, going to take the part of the African-American today on the show.
Sure will. I sure will. How are you guys?
Crazy, but good. Of course, I'm Kent, and I, am husband, father, founder of 21.6, mortgage guy, and I will play the white part today.
Okay.
And of course, this guy over here, Drew Cappuccino, he'll play the Italian.
I try.
Entrepreneur, father, husband, all around good guy, relationship builder, connector, right?
Right.
Hey, they're dancing at home too. Absolutely, to the bridge, you have to. SG3, good morning. Of course, Sal, one of the hosts of the Reject Rundown. Sal Rejects will be live this Independence Day weekend on Saturday at 2. They'll be in studio, so cut into the middle of your festivities on Saturday and join the Rejects for a great time.
Pretty sure there's going to be a lot. Wings. And
oh my God! Yeah, we're emptying out the garbage bag, so that
you had to tie that guy up right there. Yeah. Thanks, Sal.
Yeah. Oh, and hey, Tony the Kid's in now too.
What up, Tony?
Also part of that, and he'll play the part of the Hispanic guy today.
Nice.
Nice. We are getting it. Listen, before we get started, though, Phil, and we're going to cover some of the stuff we talked about last week. On August 12th. And Phil and I would not be doing ourselves justice, and I'll try to get the link up. But on August 12th, there's going to be a 3-on-3 basketball tournament in Woodstock to help truly one of our brothers. Andrew Hogle, it's going to be a half-court hangout, Hogle's half-court hangout, and it'll be the inaugural 3-on-3 tournament that day. There's going to be music. There's going to be basketball playing. Andrew Hogle truly is a fighter. He's about 10 years ago, he had a kidney transplant. And what a lot of people don't understand is kidney transplants don't last a lifetime.
No, they don't.
They last about 10 years. He's on dialysis. He's been fighting a lot of health issues. This is a guy who's got 3 kids. One of them's really young. And when I say really young, not even in school yet. This tournament on the 12th, Hogle's Half Court Hangout, Phil, is designed to help with a lot of the medical costs that he's up against. Any words on that, Phil?
One of the top 5 nicest people I've ever met in my life. it actually made you and I closer. Just an amazing human being with a big heart for the game of basketball, and somebody that just you're putting on a good cause for an amazing human being. So if you can go out, show your support, just feel like donating. I'm sure that we'll have a link as we get closer to August 12th. Get a chance, meet him, see the magic for yourself. He's just an amazing human being, him and his family. So any support that you guys can give, we appreciate it. He's definitely, like Ken said, a brother of ours. So any brother of ours, be a brother of yours, and come out, show your support on August 12th.
Yeah. So check the bridge. We'll put a link up there. Check 21/6. We'll have a link up there too. If you're not a baller, you can't be there that weekend. Donate. Just donate.
Yep.
I mean, this is a guy who really puts himself probably second or third. He just keeps giving and giving and giving to people.
I love it.
And it's time for us to help him out. So,
did you need me to? I mean, I'm 5'5" and overweight. I can show up and do some ballers.
Yeah,
stuff,
you can do
it'll gain
ball.
a lot of attraction.
Yeah, well, we may try to get 21/6 there on the live event and play some music and be the announcers and have a little bit of fun. We're going to talk about that, but we're going to see what we can do. I may be out of town. I think Alice has a 35th class reunion or something, but
we'll see.
We'll get people there.
We'll
get people there. All right. So good stuff. Listen, yeah, Sal, you could be the announcer. We'd get you there.
Of course.
That's it.
Could we request, because the gen lady said she was dancing at home, can we request that the viewers dance a little bit at home or at their desk?
Yeah, send in clips of that.
Yeah,
do that. Let's make a montage and make that the intro before the show starts.
Yeah, I would do a sizzle reel.
That's right,
yeah.
Sizzle reel.
I would love to see the viewers at home and just what that looks like across the number of viewers that we have would be hilarious.
Create that video, send it into
info at 216net.com and we'll get it. Desk dancing. LOL. Yes. Different than pole dancing, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Right.
Different. Want to make that clear, people.
Different kind of show.
That's right.
We're not doing this for the rent. We're doing this for just sheer entertainment.
Right. This will be our sizzle reel. Listen, if you tuned in last week, Rob was on, great guy, and a huge barbecuer. He's got a cool business concept that he's going to put into play down the road, which is great. And then Rob had to take off and take care of business, and you saw Phil and I get into a pretty good conversation, heated, right?
Oh yeah.
And I dug my heels in.
Oh. Okay.
Right. And I don't know. I was irritated, whatever. Not necessarily with Phil. Phil and I have talked since, and but I wanted to bring it up because that's exactly what bridging civil tension is all about. Is it got tense? And Phil and I were then able to say, hey, bro, my bad. I don't know. I was pissed at something. Maybe on my period. I don't know. I came after you. Right.
That was literally the phone call.
and then when I went back and watched, I'm like, he's really saying what I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
I was just not listening to what he was saying.
Right.
And I go, I was a fucking idiot. Right. I was dumb.
We all make mistakes.
Right. But so many times in life, and that's what blows bridges up. Right. But you have to be able to then reach out to your brother and go, oh man, thanks for not punching me in the face at that moment, right?
I think admitting when you're at fault really helps clarify, especially if you guys are close anyway. And he probably understood that, but I'm sure the appreciation of being like, hey, listen, I was being an idiot, knowing and recognize that's half the battle, man. You know what I mean? That's how you grow. That's all right.
I think so many people want to continue to justify disrespect versus just taking responsibility. And that's what I really appreciated with Kent. Like, it wasn't like, well, you should just let me talk to you crazy, or you should just let me be disrespectful. You should just allow me to talk over you. He was like, no, I dropped the ball. You didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
I was this, I was that. But then he goes, but no excuses. It shouldn't have happened. I apologize. I can rock with that. What I think makes a lot of things worse, some people want to justify disrespect. And that's just kind of a twist in the knife at that point. And Kent didn't do that. So I truly appreciated that.
Yeah. I mean, Phil knows we've known each other a long, long time. You know, and I went home and you know, I talked to Al, you know, I was like, I was Jesus, you know, she doesn't ever listen because she listens to me enough at home, right? But you know, I went and it bothered me all weekend, man. You know, and I was like, I know Phil was busy on the weekend, so I didn't reach out right away, and it sat there and festered. But then I started thinking, like, and when I went back and listened, I'm like, God, he's saying exactly what I think I'm supposed to be saying, but I'm saying, no, you're wrong. And how many times in society does that happen on these issues? Any issue
very often
that's tense.
I think even when you said that part, when you're like, I watched it Sunday and I talked to my wife, I was like, oh, it's real. Like, this isn't just like oh, I'm sorry, I did some stuff that was bad. Like, it wasn't like the general vague.
Yeah. Hey, but yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for things I said. Like, you were specific. Like, I watched it. I talked to my wife about it. It ate me up. I apologize. As I'm watching it, I'm seeing us say the same things. And again, that makes it from like, I'm sorry I said stuff, to like, no, man, I sincerely apologize. We are brothers and we shouldn't act like that. Like, so I apologize to you. No ego, you know, it shouldn't have happened. That's huge. Most people don't do that.
No, you're right.
And and your patience, you know, if you don't know Phil, his patience is amazing, right? Because literally, I mean, he could have just hit done on his camera, like, you're a fucking idiot, right? And you're being dumb here, Deke. What, you know what I'm saying? And he hung in there, and he hung in there, and he hung in there, and he's like, listen, you've used 20 minutes past it. You know, are you serious? You know, and at the time I was so enraged for what, and it really had nothing to do with Phil, but I think in America that's what happens a lot here, is that I just get so enraged that I just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, not taking time to go, listen. If I could have heard, and I didn't hear a thing Phil said because I was so blinded by the own noise in my head. If I could have heard what he was saying, I would have been able to go, oh, you're saying the same thing. I'm trying to, right? But at that moment, that, you know, that's, you know, at that moment, I'm loving the jacked up 4x4 truck with the flags waving.
You know, I'll comment on that a little bit. So a couple of things. Number one, Phil's a coach. Okay? Yeah. You're a coach. I'm a coach. One of the things that is huge is you're able to look in the mirror and go, ugh, I did that. I'm sure Phil's done that. I've done that. Anybody who says they haven't done that, they're lying. Yeah. And so the nice thing though is you guys are close, and even in true brotherhood, you understand the other side. You know what I mean? Yeah. But not everybody goes back for the full apology. And you know, that's kind of important. I think that's kind of important to have the acceptance and the accountability of something that you did, because not only does it appease and help, like, okay, so you know, Phil probably really appreciated it, and it probably made him feel good that you came forward like that. At the same time, it helped you grow to know that sometimes, and I know you've both heard this, if you're moving your mouth, you're not listening. And sometimes when you get frustrated, you take that 2-second breath and say, stop talking in your head and listen. Yeah. You can repair a little bit quicker, right? But there's enough anger. There's enough hate in the world. The ones that are around you the closest are not the ones that you're pulling daggers out of your back from. Yeah, that's true. Those are the ones that will understand, but still give that apology. Still do those things to show that you appreciate them. I think that's huge. Yeah, I think that's huge. So, all in all, in the end, you know, he's on camera, he's out, and what is it, a birthday, or do we lose camera? Do we lose Phil?
I don't know. Maybe he's taking his shirt off.
You know what I do.
What we're doing right now? Are we comparing?
But you know, but so here, and then here's what happens. You know. And that's why I say some things that are tense in the moment are truly tiny in the grand scheme of things. And then, you know, so I'm digging my heels in last Friday, you know, and whatever. And I'm blinded by the own noise in my head. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people, and deafened by the own noise in my head. Well, then on Wednesday, you know, Hogel's half court hangout comes on, you know, comes across my news feed, and I go, fuck. And look how stupid I was, right? And I dug my heels in with a brother, but then and even if I'm not his brother, right? Let's just say that Phil and I were, you know, had a work relationship or whatever. We weren't as close as we are. It would still would have ate me up. And I
Sure.
being me, I still would have said, hey, I would have pulled him
course.
aside, you know, at work, or taken him to lunch or something. Be like, listen, bro, I was off base. But then, you know,
he owes you a lunch.
But then you get one of our close friends who's fighting for his life.
Right.
And that noise in my head all of a sudden seems very, 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 very tiny and soft.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, I'm not trying to make necessarily light of the situation, but like, I think it was a good reminder of like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Right. Because if it's like we have that type of blowout or conversation, whatever, and the apologies don't happen, the next thing there's a half court hangout for one of us. It's like, man, that's family. And I'm over here arguing about some stuff that don't even matter.
Yeah.
And
Silly little things.
like, how would I feel if that was one of our last correspondence, or like years had passed and then now I'm at your half court hangout? Like, man, we wasted so many good years, bro. Like, I apologize.
Yeah. And it just hangs there. Yeah.
Yep.
What does Tony the Kid say? Tony the Kid says the ones that are the closest can sometimes get burnt, but great friendships will be able to heal together. Yeah, I don't even know if it, you know, there's scars there. It's just, you know, it bothered me for just the way I treated a brother, right? So, and then you go back and listen to it and be like, what the fuck, you idiot? I was dumb, right?
Yeah.
And truly, to Phil's point, there are people in your life that when that happens, they don't answer. It's Kent. I don't have time for him and his bullshit today. Right?
Yeah.
You know,
Some people will write you off forever.
Yeah.
But you have to also think, you know, like if you were with somebody for 20, 30 years and they already know how you are and they're going to write you off for something silly.
Yeah.
You have to kind of ask yourself, do they belong in your network?
Yeah.
And so, you know, nobody's perfect. God knows I'm not. You know, I insert foot, mouth all the time. The time. But be like you, the first one to be like, did I say that out loud? I apologize. You know, I'm that guy. Because it's going to help me become better.
Yeah.
You know, and try to lessen the demon voices in my head. For sure.
Yeah.
I think though, since, you know, no one's perfect, then we can't act like it. If I know I'm going to mess up, I can apologize for messing up, and I can tell you how I messed up, because I'm going to mess up, because I'm an imperfect person. For whatever reason, so many people, I'm not perfect. Okay, then just apologize for what you did and let's move on.
Right.
You know,
right.
Right. You take a look at a stained glass window, and they're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You take a look at that same pile of broken glass on the ground, and you're sweeping it up. Like, who broke all these bottles? Right. Take a look at a mosaic, right? People love mosaics. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's a bunch of broken tile.
Mm-hmm.
We're human mosaics, to Phil's point. But for some reason, we think we're a perfect pane of glass, or we try to show that. If we understood that brokenness, like Phil's saying, and the person on the other end of my dickocracy was, you know, understood that I'm that broken glass, then they accept it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dickocracy.
It's
a new word.
I'm gonna be using that word moving forward now.
Can you imagine being a kid having to write dictionary words for punishment, come across that gold nugget? My God.
P. Jones. Yeah.
Can you put that in a sentence, please?
Apparently it's a verb. I didn't know this.
It's a verb.
It's hilarious.
But you know, some of my frustration is, you know, we've been doing this for now 3 years, this show, and it's, you know, and it's a fight really that you know, a lot of us have been living our entire lives. And you know, some of my frustration is people still just aren't getting it. You know what I mean? It just, there's still too much dickocracy out there that you know, everywhere, you know,
As long as there's humans,
and
there will be dickocracy.
right. And some of my frustration lies in the fact that, listen, I grew up in Iowa, right?
Mhm.
Now the city that I grew up in, of course, Burlington, you know, about 50-50 split, African American and whites, might skew, you know, the larger percentage. I'm just saying, taking a look at it from the outside. But I've learned a lot, you know, and I've grown a lot. There are things that I didn't see that were happening that happened. And then you focus out, you know, you widen your view, your lens, and I've seen the way that I've changed my thought, and I've seen, you know what I'm saying,
Sure.
through this and the growth, and I get frustrated still. It's some people who don't, who haven't, who won't.
Well, they got the blinders on, man. They only want to see this far, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they've learned through generations and so forth and whatnot. They can't expand their horizons.
Yeah.
And listen, there's always, no matter what you do, there will always be that.
Yeah.
But it's not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with it and how you handle it. And, you know, things
totally
like this show really makes a difference, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Tony hit it right on the head. I didn't even see that, but yeah, you know, frustration can also stem from why isn't anybody else seeing things the way that I'm seeing things, and that's some of the frustration as well. As you know, that's why I brought up the yellow car.
Sure.
You know, I'm like, you know, and I'm looking, and y'all know me. I look for the good. I mean, I'm gonna find that little piece of sunshine and say, it's a glorious day.
Right.
You know, and everybody's this way. You know,
Right.
And I'm the only one who can see the sunlight coming through the window, you know.
Well, and as we mentioned in our last show, with all the sightings of aliens,
Yeah.
you'll see a united Earth front.
No,
Real quick. No.
No.
It's only going to take something that drastic to say that our entire race, and that's the human race, it's the only real race, the human race. But you would have to hit something into that kind of tragic scenario for that to really work.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sad, but it's true.
You
Yeah,
think so? You think so?
Listen, I think that as long as there's people and everybody works in variable and everybody has a different thought process, and then one person's perspective is forced upon another, and that creates a game of telephone, right?
Right.
And then you get cliques of people, and then those people's belief systems become a trend, and now you got groups pinging onto those groups. This is how human race works. And unfortunately, as a race of people, the only time anything really matters to come as a whole, if we really wanted to become united, take the borders down. We visit here. Nobody owns anything.
Right.
We're all people, right? So at that point, we're saying this is mine, right? And then inside of this is mine, there's little groups of being like, this is mine. And so, no, you're different, and different's scary because we don't understand it. It's the human way.
Is it? Yeah, I mean, there must be a reason why the only people who've been abducted and anally probed are the ones who have 3 teeth, live in a trailer. No, I swear to God, he's a UFO.
That's right.
2024.
But it's when mass tragedy happens, you'll be amazed.
Yeah.
On how people come together, right?
Well, yeah, there's the old saying, right, that we're always at our best when our back's against the wall. Right. You know that.
I'm gonna throw out an example. Okay. So we'll go black and white with this. So we'll say the tension between African American or people of culture and then us mayonnaise, right? We have this tension because it's in-house, right? It's in-house, and it's like, Well, yeah, we were raised a different way. They were raised a different way. They had it bad. We don't see that. Blah, blah, blah. This whole thing that goes back and forth. Now, all of a sudden, there's a whole airstrike happening from another country into our country. And now there's a ground attack, right? All of a sudden, that black man is my new friend. Why? We have something in common, right? And you win. Yeah, I think Dave Chappelle said it best, and I know Phil and I are huge fans of Dave Chappelle. He said it. He's like, I get on an airplane, I don't get bothered anymore. But man, if I wore that turban, right?
Right.
And so, you know, it's like, you know, sitting a black man sitting next to a white man in an airplane, they're like, hey,
Yeah.
oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just human nature is at fault, and how generations get trained, and then those generations train other generations. Can it fade? Sure, but something drastic has to happen. You have to break something, and in order to completely rebuild it, it has to be broken.
Yeah, that's what makes a mosaic beautiful.
Right. So, I mean, and listen, a lot of that is an opinion or something fed to me by that. But yeah.
And Sal says it great. Dave Chappelle, thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Shout out to Dave Chappelle.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my thought on that.
That's
Cappuccino's 2 cents.
The bots will probably shut us down.
I just wanted to tell the Borgias. That's my Italian way.
Yes, I would agree with that. But at the same time, we can also say that those same people in a foxhole, you know, maybe throwing somebody out of that foxhole faster. It happens, right? Because we're people.
And that's where, like, how do we get to the remedy? Because it can't just be like, all right, let's unify to kill the aliens, right? And then, all right, now that the planet's safe, go back to
now what?
Now what? Can we go back? We'll keep the whites only section, right? Hey, we're gonna form an army to fight this common enemy, but only some of us get uniforms. Can't do that.
Right. And I think to both of your points is we don't, you know, like last week, you were really saying what I was saying. Right. I was so focused on obviously not what you were saying. That right? that we don't know who the bad guy is. And we don't, you know what I'm saying? We don't know which team to play on. And because there are so many different narratives. Right? I mean, look what happened last July 4th weekend in Highland Park. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs starts, you know, where you should be celebrating the independence of this country.
Right.
Some nut job just starts plucking people off.
Yep.
Right. And now what do you hear? What do you hear now? Oh my gosh, we've bolstered. We've got more security. We're making it a scary place to go and have fun, and we don't know who the enemy is anymore. Right. So now I see Phil, all 6'4" of him, come walking in to my barbecue on my cul-de-sac, and people go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, enemy!" You know,
right.
He's gotta be, you know.
Well, let me put in a different term for that, right? We're in my cul-de-sac. We're barbecuing. The neighbors are looking out. They see Captain Gorgeous Phil, all 6'2" of them. Did you say?
Yeah.
Walking in, they're like, "This is gonna be a good barbecue," right? So it's perception.
Yeah,
it's perception. And if you're looking for the problem, you're going to find it. If you're looking for people who aren't part of that problem, you're going to find it. But you have to look for both.
But that's the problem. I think we in America don't look for both.
No, we don't.
Right?
We don't.
And so I create in my head, just like last week, I turn off everything except the narrative in my head to dig my heels in to say that I'm right and this is the problem.
Yeah.
And I've just created the problem. And I've irritated people. And that's what I mean. Right now, here on Independence Day weekend, as a country, we should be locking arms and celebrating Americans, right? Doesn't matter. It's just Americans.
America.
Instead, we are hyper focused on something's going to implode this weekend and something's going to be bad, instead of, man, this was just a great weekend. Phil's got his mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom. That's awesome.
And just the joy of family right now. Yeah. And I think that's what the 4th of July is all about. But again, you're going to have somebody acting like I did. And again, we didn't, there was no harm. So don't take this off any of the social media. What we're saying is we had an argument, but I was so deafened by my own noise in my own head that I couldn't listen to a friend. Right. And that's going to happen again on probably it could, right?
Oh,
and that's why security why security is so much higher, and police forces are like, no, nobody's off, so
but I mean, if that could happen on a show like this with like a friendship like ours, think about how most conversations are going. Like, it's not a person that they've known for like 20 years.
Right.
Who's like, all right, well, I know that Ken has my back, or I know Phil has my back, so let me just hear him out despite, how I may feel. So if that could happen, like, it's going to be very susceptible to a lot of people. Like, anyone that could happen to. But still being able to take that time to take a step back on topics and like, let me hear what they're saying. Let me ask questions on what they're saying. And then I can say my side. But I think that most people aren't coming with that benefit of the doubt, let me hear you out mentality when it comes to certain topics that they feel like they're going to drag their heels into.
Well, Drew was telling me to that point. Drew was telling me the fella in the gas station, right, was an Orange supporter, and was making the clerk feel very uncomfortable, and a few kids, right?
Yep.
Tell
so
that story.
As the gas station that's down the street, my house, I'm friends with the owner there. I work with the chamber, so I have a lot of members and a lot of people that I've grown close to, and I walk in and there's a gentleman in there. He's got the hat on, long beard, and he's wearing spiked fingerless gloves. Now this man's got to be about 52, 53 years.
My age.
Yep. Maybe a little older, right?
Yeah.
More like your buddy Scott. What's his name? And so he's in there, and I walk in, and there's a weird, tense feeling going on in there. And, like, I have a decent amount of awareness. So where I'm around, where I'm from, you always had to be aware.
Yeah.
And so I felt
Schaumburg is a rough.
Schaumburg. Right. When I looked at the guy behind the counter, the man I knew, he was looking at me funny, and I'm like, is this place getting robbed?
Yeah.
That was my first thought.
It was just the weird tenseness.
Right. And then there's these kids, these girls, these teenage girls hanging out in the far corner, because this guy's sitting there doing this with his gloves and getting all like, and I'm going to tell you something, and getting all huffy and puffy and stuff. So I look at my guy and I go, what's going on? He's like, oh, no, blah, 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 blah. And this guy starts going off on a rant about everything wrong, period, right? And I'll leave it at that because I want to keep YouTube.
Correct.
So I started getting aggravated. And I'm like, listen, what are you, like 55 with your spiked gloves? You got teenage girls hiding in a corner, afraid to come back around to leave. my guy behind the counter is just like looking at me like he needs help. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, it's my turn. Move, get out, leave, whatever, right? And he's all like looking at me and up and down, giving me, he's a hard rock, right? He's mad dogging me. I'm like, whatever. And I go, why don't you just get your little piece of shit car and go home? And the clerk leans over and he goes, no, that's his mom's car and he lives in her basement. I was like, really, tough guy? Really? That's your go-to, your spike gloves, you live in mom's basement. And now I'm just pointing out the door. I got the door open for him to get out. And so I'm like, girls, come on. You want to leave? They're like, yes. I'm like, come on. So they walked around me. They're like, thank you, sir. I'm like, God, am I old?
Yeah, you are.
They called me sir. But yeah, I mean, that's the perfect example, right? Where people just take something. I mean, listen, the guy can't think for himself. He can't even live for himself.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, this is his go-to, is to try to show fear and intimidation about whatever his belief system is. And that's like what? The spiked gloves, like you're going to rough somebody up, you're going to do something.
Hey, Billy Idol, great job.
Those people make me laugh because it's never the tough guy is the one that's trying to flaunt it. It's always the one in the corner, quiet, with his eyes shifting back and forth fastly, right? I mean, you never know. So, but yeah, to get to your point, that's what that was.
I'm just laughing seeing this guy trying to intimidate you like he's warming up for the Michael Jackson Bad video.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You know what I mean? Come on. Knife out,
Oh Lord. Yeah. Tony the Kid says it's hard to find a solution just because humans and mammals and we are territorial. So we'll find a way to defend what we feel is ours. But I think that with the rise of I don't want to blame social media because everybody blames social media. With the rise of the inability to communicate verbally, everything becomes I have to win, right? To last week, again, I wasn't even paying attention to my friend, my brother, or listening to what he was saying, but my mind went, dig your heels in and win this fight. There wasn't even a fight.
Right. How dare you let him get away with saying the same thing?
I'm over there. Just throw it. And Phil's doing this. I'm like a little kid over here just throwing punches, and Phil's like, easy, Phil.
He's like, what are you doing? Oh, I got some.
That's awesome.
So,
get you some good reading.
Yeah, right there. Around that's it. Around the World with God in 45 Minutes, a great book by Phil Wallace. But and I don't even know it. And the more he just holds my head, the more I'm getting start swinging faster. I'm trying to kick him, my legs won't reach him either.
Everybody's got their moment, man. That's everybody. Like I said, it's normal.
But but there's too many of that out there, and fortunately there's not enough of you. There's not enough of Phil. There's not enough of Scott that will call people's BS to the line and go, easy, cowboy. Yeah. So it's just you
know how I can get along with just about anybody is because as a Gen Xer being raised in the city, I grew up in diversity. It wasn't like we identified and labeled you're black, you're Mexican, we never did that.
Yeah,
and so listen, I people ask me once, like, why are you so into skulls and I got my tattoo. I'm like, because underneath all your skin, you're all the same. We're all brothers and sisters. That's how I see everybody.
Yeah.
You're either an asshole or you're not.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why how do I preach that to people who are blindsided or keep their blinders up because they don't want to listen to it. The noise in their head, right, is too loud because how they were trained and how they went down the pipeline, right? So, I mean, some people will get it and some people won't. But, how many people are born every day? How many people are being trained that every day? The old ones filter out, but as the old ones filter out, we're still trading the new ones, right?
So Lucy's my 14-year-old daughter, and she'll be a freshman in high school, and God, she's just an incredible human being, and she got a little crush on, got a little crush on a guy, Dee, good kid, football player. I'm like, hey, what's your story? He's like, I'm into contact sports. I'm like, oh, what is contact sports? Yeah, football, wrestling. Oh, all right, good. D'Angelo Davis is his name, and he. They were someplace. Alice was someplace, and one of the kids was like, "Hey, Lucy." And I was like, hey. And she's like, I hate those kids. She's like, what? She goes, I just hate white people. and I'm like, and it's caught Alice off guard. She goes, what? She goes, those white people. They're racist. They're idiots. They're jerks. They're bullies. I'm like, wow, call it out then, and, so to me, I'm proud of her for that. Right. Yeah. But it caught Alice off guard, but because Lucy's a white, but that makes me feel proud then that you know what I'm saying? Sure. Seeing it, catching it, right? Not to hate white people, but to call it out. Go ahead.
There's so many things about that I can say. I'm gonna let Phil.
No, I'm just laughing because I've known Lucy for as long as I've known Lucy. So to see her, I can just picture it, just
her whole life. Yeah, yeah. It's and to me, and to me that makes me proud, right? Well, because she's a strong woman. She's turning into a strong woman who can stand on her own, but also not to just follow the clicks or the
don't follow the light. She's created her own light. She's created her own path and her own belief, and that's awesome.
Yep. And
that's what we need more of.
Yeah.
Especially with the youngsters today, right?
Yeah, truly. So and it threw. I don't know. She probably stopped Alice in her steps. Alice probably didn't know what to say or how to react to that. Like, what? I'm like, so when I get home, they talk about it. I'm like, good for you. Stay true to that.
Right.
Yep. Understand, and I had to tell her though, stay true to that. But understand, through high school, it'll be tough because the popular people will pick on you. The popular people.
Well, my daughter's got a similar issue to that. She's her own person.
Yeah,
and she's a bit grunge, bit rock and roll. She does theater, animation, sound design. She's 15.
Yeah,
right. She's got a big following on YouTube. And
brilliant.
Some people, because the way she dresses or the way she looks or what her style is, she catches some grief.
Sure.
And sometimes it aggravates her. For the most part, though, the stories that she tells me, her answer to all that is, what people think of me is not my problem.
That should never.
And that's powerful for a 15-year-old to even know. You know what I mean?
Phil, obviously, Alice, thank you for listening. You have an RSVP to the wedding on August 5th. Are you coming?
Oh, yeah.
Well, now that you apologize, yes.
Yeah.
It was going to be awkward.
Hey, we'll be at the same table, and there is barbecue, bro, so it's all good.
Yeah. All right, I'll let her know. Alice, he's coming.
I'll be there.
Oh, my wife, I love her. Let's just make sure while you're on the air with him.
Right. Let him know. Hey, at least you were in the system.
It's out there.
I wasn't even in the system, so at least you were in the system.
I thought I told her that at the game. When I saw her at the MC.
You probably did. Yes.
The rejects are coming.
Yeah. You probably did. And here's what I'm doing for the wedding. I'm like, whatever. I'm not commenting on anything. I'm going with the flow. Like, let's just get there. I've got some work to do that day of, but let's just get there, right? Because I know my daughter and I know my wife, and if I open my mouth, You thought last week was bad.
Right.
Trust me.
We have an extra room.
Yeah, trust
Don't worry
me.
about
I'll be
it.
sleeping over there in
no problem.
in the green room.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, rejects are gonna. Yeah, we'll just. You guys can crash it. You know.
You can crash it. You're not invited.
You're not invited. You can crash it. Yeah. This spring I can do the shopping cart. I'm good.
It's all good.
You see me breakdance every week here, which is.
I was going to ask for the father dance. Like, are you ready? Can you?
Yeah. This is gonna. Y'all. Yeah. Just wait, y'all.
Do we have to have a hitch session? Teacher, stay right here. The Q-tip.
All within this line.
The Q-tip.
Right. All within this line.
Ashley and I are going to turn it out. People are going to be impressed.
Awesome.
If I could request that you guys do the kid and play,
I
would lose.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
If you do the kid and play,
and kick the feet.
Yep.
That would be
Might be hard.
I'll tell you what, being short potato style in the shape of a potato, I can't even get my leg on my other leg, let alone jump. So, if you could do that, I'm impressed. You've already got me at, kid and play, right? House party.
I love it. What are you talking about? That's great. That's great.
Said potato shaped.
That's it.
I'm in shape. It's a potato shape.
It
it's
is.
Avocado shape. Whatever you want to call it.
That is wonderful. Potato. Not a tot. I'm a tater tot shape. It's good. But yeah, so I once we can, I think,
the sprinkler.
Once we can dampen or quiet our own argument in our head and open up to what's being said, and then realize that perhaps what I thought was the opponent isn't an opponent,
right?
Then that's maybe when this nation can heal. I mean, but at the same time now we're seeing stories. Take a look in France right now. I think it's France. Is it where the police officer shot somebody on a traffic stop?
What?
And the whole and now the whole country is up in arms. They got the cop on some sort of murder charges. I forget what they say, what the legal term is, but there's rioting now in France because of the uproar of police brutality, and we've seen that. We've tried to. It's been talked about here. So now you kind of watch and go, a different country where they're not known for that, and the uprising about from the villagers, if we'll call it that, on hey, no, that doesn't play well here.
Yeah,
right. And immediately, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. But immediately, the head police guy, I don't know how they do it there in France, came out right away and said, within hours, right, came right out and said, listen, there shouldn't have been force used on this.
Wow.
Quick. And they took the police officer into custody. Was not suspended without pay or with pay. Took him into custody, right? So, is there something that we could learn there?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're Googling
absolutely.
Wow.
It's right. So it wasn't. Well, let's see. Let's go to the videotape. This dude, it was like right now, done.
Whoop whoop. Well, and you see the video of the was it 4 young black men, different state, and was it New Jersey or something? And then the 2 cops, young white cops, and they were instantly like, "You need to get out of the car," right? And they're like, "What did I do?" And they're like, "Oh, it smells in the car." And they're like, "No, we got nothing. I don't know what you're talking about," right? And then, like idiots, they didn't shut off their body cameras, and it showed him pull a roach out of his own pocket and put it on the floor.
We've seen that play,
right?
Motion,
and we're like, "Oh, look at this right here!" And dude was on the back, with his cell phone, being like, "And I got you on camera with that." He's like, "Is that red light still on your chest? Are you that dumb?" And so they sued him, and they were, they're going to go under investigation, right? So under investigation, and it's like you're still getting paid, but they can't go on the streets again and work, right? They're still getting paid, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, they resigned," right? And so you still have that. That's the American.
Here, fellas, here's a couple of tickets for a submarine ride.
Right.
But if I can resign in McHenry, then get a job in Woodstock.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the same thing in Woodstock.
Oh yeah, right. No, I'm leaving Jersey, and I'm gonna head over to Idaho.
Right.
Yeah, no, I resigned there. Right. This isn't you on this camera. Not me.
Right. Looks like me. Right?
They all look the same out in Jersey,
Oh, you bald-headed white guys.
And yeah. So if you follow this, and I've been following it just because of how quickly they reacted and whatnot, to say, look at how this is being handled. Our good friend, God love him, Gary Huang over in Singapore has sent me like a battery of great articles on how their police handle things and de-escalate things without guns, without tasers, without anything. And I've just been marveling at them, and how they work. I think we've all seen the many people have seen the TikTok where a lady's up like 20 flights up, and she's standing on the outside of her balcony, and then they drop a net and swing down.
Mm-hmm.
That was in Singapore. That's how that's their fire department. That's how they respond to things, is like,
right.
Like people swinging into Clark Griswold's house on Christmas vacation. It's like, and we do this. Don't jump.
Right.
Put a net up. Don't jump.
Somebody hold that gauze just in case he falls.
It's not worth it.
Right.
And these guys literally come in like SWAT to save this lady's life. I mean, it was amazing if you haven't seen it. They call it the DART team, DART. Usually deployed for major disasters. So to save one person, they send in this DART team to swoop in. This is amazing.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I would never. The departments that we have here in America, they risk their lives too.
Oh yeah,
I would never dismiss that.
I'm not. There's great people who, and I couldn't do it. I don't.
No,
right. My daughter, she wants to be a paramedic and an EMT. I can't do that. What are you nuts? Yeah. It's God love her for that, right? That ain't me. Woo. Nope. So, I mean, there's a lot of neat things, but as you start looking outside of the United States, you can start seeing how things are handled differently, and to what extent.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you go, well, why can they do it? Well, we can't.
Right. Well, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And you hear nothing but the problems, but you never hear about the resolutions of the problems. You never hear about the answers that really come out. That's another part of the problem. Is all you hear are problems, but you never really hear the result.
Well, history has shown once you start getting results, you're silenced. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
right.
Maybe.
I mean, we could take.
I don't know. That's to me, that's theory. I can't go by. I need to go by fact. I've never been silenced, and you know me.
Right.
I'll say anything to anybody.
Right.
To the point where I gotta get a word.
But respectfully, like we're saying on a local level, like if we were saying, that's why when Ken asked me about the show, what did I tell you, Ken? I said, if we get too big,
yep,
I'm quitting.
That's right.
If we start getting national attention, I resign because I've seen it play out.
Yeah.
Right. One day he'll be like, "Have you seen Phil lately?" No, I haven't
He
seen.
did that one good show about truth, and then
Right.
Crickets.
now it's the Drew and Ken show.
Yeah. Bridging civil tension.
He's been outsourced.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Playing the role of the black man is Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks will be the
Tom Hanks will be doing blackface. No, that's wrong.
I don't.
So I do want to say one thing, because we've talked about the yellow bus last week, yellow bus this week, and then you talked about if I showed up at the barbecue in McHenry.
Yeah.
And I think just for the yellow bus people, I want to kind of just paint this picture. I go to the barbecue, like you said, for you, and you admitted what that would probably sound like to your neighbors, right?
Oh.
And so I'm looking for my brother Kent's barbecue. I'm not looking for the problem.
Right.
You said your neighbors would be looking for the problem. That's why there's so much frustration when we get told you're looking for the yellow bus. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm looking for 4th of July barbecue with my brother Kent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, when people want to have that yellow bus conversation, like, take a step back and really possibly look at certain situations, and it'll help them keep calm. Not you, but like, because if you remember last week, I said I can hear the McHenry in your voice when you said that, because I don't think people take it for take a look at the real situation before they say that statement.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, right, is also, if I were to say that there was there was a shooter in Dubuque, Iowa, right, we would picture a shooter that an Iowan, right? And
is there a defined look of an Iowan? Is that what we're picturing?
You would think somebody like me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in Iowa, right? I mean, that's geographically, right? If I said there was a shooting in Uganda, you're going to picture Ugandans, right?
Okay.
If I say Brazil, so a lot of times when we talk about a shooter in the suburbs, we do have a picture of a yellow bus, right? If we say a shooter in South LA, we have a picture of perhaps a lowrider, right? Mm-hmm. Not a yellow bus, but a lowrider. So I don't think it's necessarily wrong,
right,
for that to be your first thought. I don't know if that's stereotyping. It's probably stereotyping, because you really don't know who it is that's doing the bad. But if I say Montana, everybody, oh boy, there's a bunch of long bearded hillbillies. You know what I mean? Sure. If I say, hey, there's a pretty bad shooting in the coal mining mountain of West Virginia, again, we have a picture of that. So I don't know if it's bad that when we talk about those types of things.
And so listen, I'm a very direct communicator. So sometimes when I listen to you and Phil talk, I need my Kent Jones Dakota ring, because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. But at least you described it that way. I guess I can understand it.
Yeah.
So you can picture comparing different countries to a state. It's kind of hard, because I don't know what a typical Iowan would look like. And you're like, well, look like me. I'm like bald with glasses and kind of handsome. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you were already taking it, and the yellow bus, I'll assume, is something that we can't say, so we're saying yellow bus.
It's people just assuming, right? So when you hear, let's say, Chicago, 16 people were shot this weekend in Chicago. We're just using this. It's just an example. It's not happening. We're not wanting people to do that. We hope that nobody does. People go, oh, it's that race who's doing it. Right. And base a lot of conversation, and
it's the Russians.
And
I know.
Yeah. Right. Base a lot of conversations. And again, that, like I said, it was my own noise, right, that was that was keeping me from hearing what was being said.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So even though the 16 shot were not from
Right.
the yellow bus,
I got you.
right?
I got you.
That it doesn't matter what you say, it's the yellow bus.
I got you.
Right.
Okay.
And
thanks for catching me up on that, by the way.
And I think it, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but it's a bad thing to turn on all that noise and then not go, oh, wait a minute, it was actually a blue Camaro.
Right.
you know, oh,
Right.
it was actually a jacked up Ford F-150.
It was an '89 Ford Escort.
Right.
It was pale green.
So
Right.
so I think that's what I'm saying. And,
Okay.
And but to Phil's point is he's not looking for that yellow bus. He's looking for, right. So if more people would just say, oh, look, he's having a barbecue, right? Then we're okay.
Right.
Then we're good.
Oh, look, he's having a barbecue. There goes the neighborhood.
Right.
Right.
Everybody grab your kids a little bit closer.
Right.
You know, you know.
Right. The one thing that I was saying though, Kent, is like, if I can get you to be afraid of the yellow bus, and we did this on that one show. I was like, you know, what's the most dangerous dog? And people named Rottweiler, Pitbull. It was like the golden retriever is actually the most dangerous dog.
Right.
But if you look at what dog is banned, it's not the golden, it's the Rottweiler, it's the pit bulls, it's the okay. If I can get you to be afraid of a dog, a Chicago dog, you won't pay attention to what the golden retriever is doing to your suburbs.
Right.
So now they're hearing a dog attack, and I get the leash. No, that's what I'm saying. If it gets to the point where people are just numb, Chicago bad, and then I can get. If you look at history, we've been able to be inhumane because we dehumanize.
Correct.
So that's why when I get you numb to whatever we do to keep Chicago under control, I have to be like, sweater vest for the rest of the wintertime.
Sweater vest.
Yeah. So true.
I will buy some ons and dudes immediately.
That's right. That's right. Only if they had IOUs anymore. Remember those days?
No.
No? The IOU sweatshirts? T-shirts? No? Got nothing? Really?
No.
Iowa, huh? Okay.
Yeah. No.
Never mind.
No, we had Zeke Havarici.
Well, that IOU,
and guess
you would wear an IOU shirt with the Z Cavalry.
I was the,
and then you would tight roll them.
I was the Union Pacific guy.
Oh,
or whatever that store was. I don't know. It wasn't Union Pacific. That's a railroad on Monopoly.
Obviously.
I don't. Monopoly right now, bro.
Merry-go-round. You're shopping at Merry-go-round.
Merry-go-round. Oh man, what was it? Hey, listen, Phil, have a safe 4th of July weekend. Appreciate everything that you do. Give your mom a hug. Wish her a happy birthday.
Yes, please.
And of course, we'll get you back in studio here when you're back in the area. So,
much love, brother.
All right, for all of us here at 21.6 Net, thank you for getting caught in the net. And remember, it's better to build a bridge than to blow one up. For all of us here, enjoy the weekend. Be good, but more importantly, be good to one another. Let me see if I can get this off. There we go. All right, let's go. Oh, look at how we're ending this up.